people are constantly raising the bar.
Sacrifices need to be made.
What would you guys say are your biggest weaknesses?
You are your enemy right now.
There's success of life.
Just a fucking podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the Student Side Hustle. This week I'm speaking to Ben Langton Burnell. He is a javelin thrower going to the Commonwealth Games in 2018. And for a lot of people that is such a unfathomable feat of athleticism. And so Ben, how did you get into this and how did this all start?
So I started throwing just in school. It's one of those things that you do just for the athletics day, and picked it up and quite enjoyed it. I'd watched Waikato athlete Stuart Farquhar on TV at the 2008 Olympic Games, and thought, well, it's a pretty cool event. So that's how I got into it, and I'm 25 now and still loving it.
Yeah, and was there what made you want to take it to the next level? Because it's for a lot of kids, they do well in school when it comes to athletics, and then they're just kind of okay, cool, that was fun. But what made you want to keep doing it and keep doing it at a high level?
Yeah, so I got up to a 70-metre throw in school, which that's kind of like the borderline of making, a lower grade international class thrower. So I went to university for a couple of years and, did the whole partying thing and tried to do the training alongside that. Obviously, I wasn't gaining a hell of a lot of distance. So I went from 70 up to, I think, about 71, 72 metres in those couple of years. So I just made the decision to, put everything into it. I was 21 and, I moved up to Hamilton to just begin full-time training alongside Stewie, the athlete that I mentioned before.
Yeah. And then, one thing that intrigues me is when it comes to javelin throwing, it's such a unique sport. How do you go about training for it? Is it a lot of just throwing for days on end, or is it strength training, throwing, and endurance, or how does that sort of thing work?
So when people ask me about what we do for training, they actually get quite surprised, and it's one thing that I do love about the sport, and that is that we don't actually do a lot of throwing. Yeah. I'm throwing hard twice a week, and I'll have another sort of technical session, but it's quite high impact. So when you are throwing, you don't do a huge amount of throws because your body just can't handle it. Yeah. And then apart from that, we do pretty much everything. We train sort of like a decathlete as such. So we do a lot of gymnastics, a lot of hurdling, sprinting, gym, a lot of jumping as well, a lot of long jump, triple jump, that sort of stuff. So it's kind of makes it fun.
Yeah, and keeps it very varied.
Yeah, it keeps it interesting. There's a lot of different training stimulus that you're using, and it's definitely one of the most enjoyable things in the sport.
Do you find do you develop a lot of imbalances? Because I don't know, do you always throw with the same arm, or I don't know how that kind of thing works, but do you develop imbalances?
Yeah, so my personal best on my right arm is 82 metres, and my personal best on my left arm's 37, I think.
Really?
So it's quite, there's a big imbalance there. You always, some people are ambidextrous. They can do it on both. Yeah. But it is very rare. Most people have a kicking leg or a throwing arm. Yeah. And we train a lot on the left side to sort of balance it up in terms of strength. Yeah. But the left arm's not got anywhere near the same sort of fast twitch fibre than the right.
And do you focus a lot on training for the right arm and training for that motion? Because it baffles me how you would sort of train for it. Would it just be for example, if you're doing weights in the gym, are you doing super low reps trying to get just maximize strength? Or would it just be a combination of things?
It depends. Yeah, it depends on the time. So when it comes to weightlifting, after the season we'll have a little bit of a break, and then we get back into what we call general prep. So that's pretty much just higher reps, relatively moderate weight, I would say. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to build a base, what we call a base. That's base strength. So you're doing sets of 8.
Yeah.
your main lifts, your bench press, your squat. And we do a lot of powerlifting as well, so we do a lot of snatching, cleans, split jerk, that sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's good. And in terms of balancing up the left and right, the main exercise we do to balance up that left and right is medicine ball throwing.
So then does that sort of keep it in a...
Yeah, it keeps it pretty even. I don't have like a abnormally big right arm compared to my left or anything like that. It's all I try to keep it quite balanced.
Yeah, and do you find you develop a lot of injuries in your throwing arm? Because I can imagine, like as you said before, like I didn't think of it as like a high impact sport, but I guess you're going from completely behind you and then just getting everything in front of you as fast as possible, or does that develop a lot of injuries?
Yeah, I mean, as I said before, it is very high impact. Pretty much the bigger the impact, the further it's going to go. Of course, if you have the right technique and everything as well, the right flight.
Yeah.
But pretty much Javelin, you're like sprinting up to throw as fast as you can, and your shoes have got spikes in them, and you're trying to hit your block. So I'm a right arm thrower. I'm trying to hit my left leg as straight as I can and pretty much just stop all of a sudden. So yeah, that impacts. In the early years, I did have quite a few injuries, but recently, something does pop up every now and then when you do push your body to the limit.
Yeah.
But you just have procedures that you have to strengthen everything up, and you can only. Well, my belief is that if something does go wrong, say, for example, last year in London, I had a little bit of a shoulder injury there. Figured out what was going on, and you look after yourself moving forward.
How do you go about like dealing with those injuries? Because I know for a lot of people they'll just like go to a physio, try and get it sorted that way, but I assume you've got like pretty instantaneous, like, okay, we need to do this because I have this, or like how long would you I guess
that comes with like experience. If something's gone wrong, I know how to fix it. And pretty much I've had an injury in almost every part of my body.
Yeah.
And I know how to fix them. So when I'm not training throughout the day, I'm just so I stick to a very strict routine in terms of stretching. I do, on top of all my training, I'll go into the gym every evening and do just a straight conditioning session, which is all it is bands. There's no weights, stretching, balancing stuff. We do a lot of slackline work. And it's pretty much that stuff added on with the big throwing and the big weightlifting, all of that sort of stuff. It all works in together. And
do you like focus on taking the time to do the things that will help your body unwind?
Yeah. So at the end of every day, I won't leave the gym until probably 8:30 at night, and I won't leave until I've completely stretched everything that needs stretching. Yeah. And of course, I do a lot of trigger pointing and as I said before, band work, and if that stuff adds up over time, because a lot of people, I guess, even like people that go to the gym like 2-3 times a week, like they'll go to the gym, they'll lift the weights, and that's about it. Yeah. And your body will recover a lot better if, well, one, you're putting your nutrition's right, but also if you're doing the little things. Yeah. And I've found over time that I've had big improvements because of those little things.
What sort of things would those be? Would that be like mainly stretching, things like using the sauna, like stuff like that?
So pretty much when I was doing a conditioning session, is what I do is I get into the gym, I'll warm up, and then I start from the ground up. So I'll isolate every single muscle group, ankles, calves, quads, glutes, hammies. I'll isolate every single muscle group going up. I'll do a lot of core, and that core is based on gymnastics. We used to do gymnastics, so we still do as part of the training protocol. And then moving up, your back, your shoulders, rotator cuffs, like everything, I'll try and isolate it. And then after I've isolated every muscle group, I will just stretch every muscle group. Yeah. That's like a lot of rolling. It's just
Oh, yeah.
your basic stretches.
Yeah. One thing that
Because
I...
with javelin, you don't want to be too flexible, but you also don't want to be too tight.
Yeah.
Because you need to create tension. That's kind of... Jab throwing, it's like an elastic sort of power. You need to create tension through your torso and your shoulder, and you sort of like a little whiplash effect at the end.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And sort of like going for the maximum momentum as fast as possible. And is that what makes it quite high impact and, I guess, dangerous if you're a beginner?
Yeah, and I mean, beginning throws, a lot of it's to do with timing.
Yeah.
I mean, when I very first started, I was I think I was throwing around 50 metres.
Yeah.
You know, I've added 32 metres onto that.
Yeah.
And I could throw a cricket ball back then pretty much almost as far as I could throw one now.
Yeah.
It's just the technical side of things and getting strong through that range of motion.
One thing that I'd like to touch on is the lifestyle change that comes with this, because one thing that I think a lot of people don't see is, well, like, people talk about the sacrifices and like the things you have to give up and the things that you can't do because of it. Do you find that there is a lot of things that you feel like you can't do while you're going all in on this? Like, if you wanted to have a career like in another area, like, how do you find this changes and limits your lifestyle in other ways?
Well, I guess for me, like I like to live every day how I want to live it. You know, if you found your passion, and that obviously is my sport, then you know, you fit everything else around that. Obviously, I've done all the partying, I've done all of that normal uni kids do.
Yeah.
It's natural, yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think balance is pretty important in everyday life. So I'm working 27 hours at the moment as an accountant. As an accountant, and then studying as well. I find that those things take your mind off the sport, because it's not. I don't believe it's that healthy if you're living and breathing sport 24/7. You know.
Do you find like doing those things, like working a job and studying and being a world level athlete, do you find that ever like stresses you out to the point where you need to dial it back? Because
I got to that point last year because I was working 35 hours and trying to train full time and study. I think I studied 4 or 5 papers last year. Yeah. So it's not full time studying, but you know, when everything adds up, you know, you can get quite stressed. So I've dialed that all back, and it's a lot better now. Yeah.
What do you do when you get into that sort of, when you realize you've taken on too much?
Yeah, well, my work, so I work in Cambridge at a firm called Accountant for, and they're great. They understand the training, they understand the travelling and everything, and they were more than helpful when it came to dropping hours. Yeah, because they could see that I was just getting worn out. You know, you'd be out of the house from 7 till 9 pretty much every day of the week. And just have like no time for that downtime. There was very little time to do other things. I'm a very social person, so I love going out with mates. Yeah. And did you find when you're like, when you know you've taken on too much, do you have to limit that or squeeze it in a stressful way? The sacrifice for me was earning a little bit less and working less, but my productivity at work actually has gone way up because I'm not so stressed and training's been going awesome and study's starting back up. Yeah. Do you find like the main way you maintain balance while having such a like unique lifestyle, because a lot of like most people have their job, maybe they study, but they don't do something like this. Like this is for most people this is like crazy. They can't imagine the amount of like work ethic, and like, do you ever find that it's like hard to maintain that balance a lot of the time? Not now. Back then I did, but it was only a few months. I think it was about 4 or 5 months. Yeah. That it was that hectic, and then it got to a point where I was like, I need to dial it back. And so now I'm still pretty much out of the house from 7 till 9 at night, but there is there are breaks in between. There's time where I can do, like, my own thing. I can go and see my friends. I can just chill out.
Yeah.
And it's so much better.
And just have that time to do whatever you want to schedule. If you want to just do whatever, you can do whatever. What about when it comes to, like, knowing when to be hard on yourself and knowing when to give yourself some break? Because I know a lot of, like, kids at uni and a lot of just general people don't know when to do either. They don't know when to criticize themselves, and I'm very guilty of this myself, and they don't know when to give themselves that time to just chill out.
I think the last year I've had a massive learning curve in terms of that. So I just listen to my body.
Yeah.
And if I'm getting worn out, then I'll just go home, stretch, sit down, watch a movie. That's it.
Yeah.
Just try with my flatmates, and just you got to listen to your body.
How do you, like, communicate with your coach when you know that your body is worn out and your mind is just not functioning?
She can see it. My coach, she can see all of that. So she'll see it training whether I'm physically exhausted.
Yeah.
And then obviously we just taper that off.
Yeah.
Try and get good form on whatever we're doing. Because of course, track and field, you pretty much, you're training to be a perfectionist. You want to be a perfectionist. So you can take the weights right back. You can throw a lot less distance and just try and work on having perfect form. But I don't think I've missed a training in 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I even if I'm physically exhausted, there's no way that I will not be training.
Do you just
the main trainings? Obviously, those little conditioning sessions I touched on before.
Yeah.
Like they're not mandatory things. That's a choice of mine.
Yeah.
I choose to go into the gym every night. It's also a social thing as well. The gym that I go to, everybody's awesome to talk to.
Yeah.
It doesn't get like a lot of gyms these days. Everybody's got the headphones on. They do their own thing. They're so caught up in how they look. Like this, I wouldn't want to go to a gym like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I find at my gym the culture is also quite like, there is a lot of people just doing their own thing and just getting down and doing the work that they're there to do, but there is also a lot of community.
I get that. I get that there's, like, for a lot of people, that's their getaway.
Mm.
And I can completely understand that.
Yeah.
But, the culture these days, where, especially in males, it's all about how big you get, and people are starting to take a lot of bad stuff, and I can't stand that side of things.
Do you mean, because I have had a previous very long conversation about, if by bad stuff you mean steroids, and about just normal people taking it, and the upsides, downsides, and just sort of the details of it. It was a few podcasts ago, and personally I've never experienced it, but I'm still quite young. Like, I'm 19. I go to like a very, like, I'd say probably skewed middle-aged gym. Like, it's not exactly like a bodybuilding gym or anything. Do you find?
I just think what really is the cost of looking good, and a lot of the stuff that's actually on the market now. I've had friends that have had incredibly bad side effects from it. Like, it's not been tested long term, so you could find that all of these guys that are taking it now, like, I'm not meaning to sound harsh or anything, but they could drop dead by the time they're 35.
Yeah.
And so, what really is the cost of looking good?
And that's the thing. Like, for me, it's like, if you are wanting to be a professional bodybuilder, yeah, maybe. If you're wanting to be a physique athlete, yes, maybe. But like,
and the problem is when you get to that competitive level, the I don't even know what it's called, but when you actually get to that competitive level, you have to take the stuff to be competitive, because everybody else is taking it because it's non-tested. I mean, I'm different. I'm a performance athlete. Yeah. But we get tested all the time.
Yeah.
In track and field, and I reckon those guys, it should be tested, because they're just doing their health is just gonna be gone in 10 years' time.
It's a very like, and the thing that worries me is from the conversation I had with that guy, TM Cycles, on episode 45, he basically explained when it can be safe to use it if you know every in and out of where you're getting it from, what it actually is. If you get your bloods done, you get all this stuff done, you have all these precautions. But I think the really bad thing is when people just go and do it without thinking because their mate said, "Hey, I'm doing it. It's fine." Like
even then, I still don't agree with it. Like even then, like you still don't know what's being taken.
Yeah.
Like how it's being processed and everything.
Yeah.
And the side effects, like it's like people get angry. There's there's a lot of bad skin stuff that comes out, and people change when they're on that stuff.
Yeah. Do you find like how much does like, because I don't know much about like doping at like a world-class level, but it's like when you see stories of people who are doing it at a world-class level, how does that like sort of affect you? Because for me, if I was in that position, I feel like I'd feel cheated, and I would feel.
Well, funny you should say that. Actually, one of my big competitors for the Commonwealth Games, he's an Indian. He's just been done for steroid use. So we'll put this into context. He got 8th last year in London. So for an Olympic world champion Commonwealth final, they take the top 12 through from a pool of, it could be anywhere from 25 to 40 people, and they take the top 12 through. So he got 8th. He went through the final. Yeah. So he's been done for doping. Everybody below him has been elevated level because he was cheating. He was cheating. The person that got 13th, he's now elevated to 12th. This is what happened with Stewie Farquhar in the London Olympics. So the guy that got 12th missed out in the final because somebody was cheating. There could be a couple of other guys that are cheating, you just don't know. So the guys that are putting the effort in, doing it clean, lose out. Stu got 9th in London, and he's been elevated to 8th place. He lost 3 throws in the final of the Olympics. So an Olympic campaign for Javelin, you would do around 50,000 throws. You'd lift close to 10 million kilos worth of weight, do all of that work for pretty much 9 throws. Yeah. And he got cheated out of 3 of them because somebody was cheating. And like, in a power sport, it can make a big difference. I can the thing is I can't even begin to comprehend what that would feel like to the athlete. Oh, that would be like, I've never been in that situation. I got 24th in London last year, so I've been elevated. I'll get elevated to 23rd, but I mean, I didn't miss out on any other throws or anything like that. But even listening to Stewie, what happened to him, that fires me up because I know how hard he's worked over his career to get to that. Yeah. That was the peak of his career. That was the moment where he could have been, an Olympic medalist. Yeah. So, Olympic medal, you're losing tens of thousands of dollars in terms of money, and also there's always that could have been. That would have. And that the amount of emotional torment that I assume would play on someone's mind, because it's it was basically robbed the chance to get that medal, and it's he was already so close, and then it's being so close, and then having that come out, and then sort of having to think about that, and just I can't even imagine the feeling. Yeah, it was pretty rough when that happened. The guy was from Ukraine. Yeah. So those countries, they're pretty prolific there. Yeah, I know, because there was a lot of. They are knuckling down in it though. Yeah, because I know there was a whole thing with Russia as well. Was banned from the Olympics. Yeah, was that for this year's? Yeah, it was for doping because of the government. Yeah. Pretty much sponsored doping. Yeah. So they've been completely banned, and the IAAF, which is our governing body, is really stamping down on it. which is good.
Yeah. How do you go about like when you know you've got a big competition up? And I guess this could apply like possibly to like kids with exams. Like when you know you've got a very big competition coming up, like the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah.
How do you mentally prepare for that, and how does physical training differ when going towards that?
So pretty much nothing changes. Um, you're always trying to, work on something in your technical model. A lot of, I'm not sure whether you could, you could bring this forward into like a studying sort of environment, but a lot of the time, performance and the psychology around performance comes from a positive prior performance. So if you're leading into a games and you're throwing well, that's obviously going to boost your mentality going into it.
Yeah.
Vice versa, if you're not throwing it well, then you've just got to have that trust in yourself.
Because one thing that can you describe the mindset when you're about to do a big throw, like the mindset before? Because you said something like you have like three shots, and like that scares the shit out of me personally. Because
so pretty much like my routine. Like I've got a few little things that I do, but essentially what I do is I'll have a point that I'll think about before I step onto the runway. I'll have one point that think about, and I know that's what's going to get me distance. And then when I get onto the runway, I blank everything out, and then I just go and just be in the moment.
So there's no like intense feeling of aggression or intense feeling of just letting it all out, or like just trying to.
No, when I get super aggressive, I mean, if you could use the word aggressive, I tend to tense up, and the performance is not very good.
Yeah.
So my best throws, they've just been fluent, like fluent along the runway, smooth, and then everything just ticks at the end.
Yeah, and then it all just sort of comes
the biggest
together.
Thing that I've learned over the, especially this year, is if I get to a competition and I don't have any niggles or anything, then I'll just let the body do its thing.
Yeah.
And just trust that all that hard work, all those hours and hours of the extra conditioning and all that it comes out. And
like
the technique holds, and then
is there, and when you first started, did you get a lot of nerves, and how would you compare it to the nerves you get now?
Yeah, so I used to get a little bit of nerves when I first started, but like London, for example, that was a big learning curve for me, because I thought I would get nervous, but I didn't. So I actually went out into the middle of the stadium, 80,000 people watching, and probably you're on live television with maybe, I don't even know, tens of millions of people watching as well. And I walked out there and there was not one bit of nerve. And that actually is detrimental, because you need nerves for, to get fired up. Yeah. Adrenaline. Nerves are good for adrenaline.
But then, did it just sort of feel like calm? Like you knew you'd done the work.
Out and I was like, oh yeah.
You just walked out and then that's something
but
like.
I was talking to my coach afterwards, and I think, and we think what happened was I started out the season a 77-meter thrower. The Commonwealth Games qualifier was 80, and the World Champs one was 82 and a half. So, it's quite a big improvement. An increment needed to go from 77 up to 82. Yeah. And so, ticking off every single box in the way, qualifying for both Commonwealth and then World Champs. Yeah. When I got there, it was kind of like, I'd already reached my goal of the season, so there was no hunger to go to the next level. Yeah. And then now moving forward, I'm trying to think, okay, I don't really want to be just trying to qualify for these events. I want to be trying to get to the events and being in that top tier. Like Tom Walsh, the shot putter, his mentality is just unbelievable. It's like he literally goes into every competition and he tells himself, I've won this, I'm champion, I'm world champion, the best in the world.
How does, do you try and surround yourself with people like that who boost your mentality and just inspire you?
Yeah, like I've got a lot of friends that inspire me, and I know a lot of people that are doing they're my age and younger as well, that are they're doing very, very well for themselves, whether it's sport and whatever they're doing. You know, I'll respect anybody that puts time and effort into what they do and have passion for something. You know, work towards a goal. I'll respect anybody, and no matter what it is.
Yeah, that's something that
apart from steroids.
Yeah,
apart from that, I'm not too keen on that stuff.
Yeah, when I see someone who has faced a lot of adversity and I see that they work towards their goal, and then when they get it, it's hard to not be wow at that person, and it's hard to not feel amazing and want to converse with that person and just be around people who want to do things like that. And I think it changes a lot of people's mindsets when they surround themselves with people who are striving for goals, crazy goals that most people cannot fathom.
Yeah, like moving up here and training full time with Stewie, that rubbed off on me a lot, because he went to 4 Olympics, which for a sport like Javelin is incredible. It's incredible to go to 4 Olympics for such a high impact sport.
Yeah.
And of course, my coach as well. She used to coach Beatrice Valmuena and a whole lot of other world class athletes. And she's just so passionate, and that passion rubs off in athletes.
Yeah, and that's
she's probably more passionate about it than her athletes, and that's saying something.
I feel like that is the mark of a good coach, because I feel like
she epitomizes that coach that eats, sleeps, breathes. She just lives sport.
And it's just
it's pretty amazing.
How does that drive you? Because a lot of people, they have that role model who just completely drives them. And I know for me, I've had a lot of people that have sort of been my mentors over the last 1 to 2 years. And when I look to them and I see they just have this unbreakable passion, it really just, it sort of just feeds my passion for things as well.
I guess also got to think of it this way, that you're not doing it just for yourself.
Yeah.
That's my coach life. My results, pretty much, my results govern, how much she earns, her reputation in the sport.
Yeah.
Everything like that. You've got your work behind you. You've got all your friends, family, everything you're doing, working up towards saying in a international or elite sporting context. They're all backing you. And of course, New Zealand, most of the population in New Zealand loves their sport.
Yeah.
So you've got pretty much a nation backing you.
Yeah. And does that pressure weigh on you? Is that
Nah, I don't see it as pressure.
Yeah.
I'm doing what I love to do, and it's taken me all around the world. And I've met a lot of amazing people through it.
I'd like to finish off with this. What would be your main advice for someone looking to chase their passion, whether it be sport, whether it be whatever, whether just anything, any passion that they are doubtful whether they can do it, or it's scary for them to think that they can do it? What would your advice be to them?
Let's try anything as possible. When I first started, I always wanted to go to the Olympic Games, but and I did think it was possible, but it was just such a big there was such an incredibly massive improvement that needed to be made to get to that.
Yeah.
I had guys my own age that were throwing close to the Olympic qualifier, and I was 25-30 meters less than them.
Yeah.
And 8 years later, I've just reached that 8-9 years later, I've just reached that level.
Yeah.
And it's looking back, the only way that happened was just by enjoying something.
Yeah.
And if someone's got a passion for something, just, go for it.
I feel like there's literally...
If somebody tells you, not that I've had very many people that told me I can't, but, just prove everybody else wrong,
I feel like...
literally anything is possible.
And one of the things that I think really helps me is proving myself wrong when I think I can't do something. So the idea is basically, if I tell myself I can't do it, but I want to do it, why not?
Yeah.
And just sort of go at it. And if I end up failing, like, cool, I'll probably learn from it anyway. And if I'm enjoying the process, then I think there is no downside.
Enjoying the process is a huge thing. You've got to enjoy what you do.
Yeah.
If you're waking up and you're just telling yourself that you're going to be passionate about it, it's like passion is shown just through the enjoyment that you get from it. And you got to enjoy the process.
Yeah, and it's almost like
because not everybody's going to be a world champion or whatever they do.
Yeah.
But if you're reaching your own goals and you're meeting amazing people on the way, 10 years down the line, nobody's really going to care about how good you got. Or
And I feel like even like 10 years down the line, the person that will care if you did it or not is probably you, and it's the person that will care if you enjoyed it. They won't, I don't think you're going to be thinking, oh wow, I can't believe I didn't improve by 10%. If you're either going to be like, okay, I'm sad I wasted my life on that, or you're going to be like, oh my god, I'm so happy that I did that for such a long time in my life. I feel like
another thing that I always tell myself is, looking back in 10 years' time or 15 years' time, you're going to look back and say, what if I did this? It's very easy to go out every weekend, party, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I'm a party and I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But, you got to do it to a certain level.
Yeah.
And, if you've got a goal, just go for it.
Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of the Student Side Hustle. I would appreciate so much if you would leave a review if you'd like to hear more of what I'm saying. Then I would love if you would follow me on Instagram or check out my other social media, all linked in the show notes. And again, I would just like to say thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful evening and study hard.